Tuesday and we're live. Wendy, your nutritional consultant. I'm just going through and making sure that everything is set up here. Dum, 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 dum. I hope it's live. I'm always hoping. It's kind of a crazy situation. Okay, I'm just going through everything here, just making sure we're all set up before we start. Making sure that I can see if everybody asks me any questions. Anybody that might be live with me. Okay, there I am. Okay, let's see. All right, here we go. Bum, 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 bum. All right, how are you on this rainy day? Oh my goodness. Well, we need the rain, and with a lot of forest fires and different things going on, it's you need it. I'm not going to complain, and all my plants love it too. So I mean, this is not the season for manicures by any means, because it's gardening season. Excuse me, my eyes are watering. Give me a second here. Yes, it's gardening season, and it is my favorite time of year, to be honest with you. I love getting my hands dirty, and I love getting out into the garden, and I love seeing everything that's going on. So, yeah. What are we talking about today? We are talking about, let me pull up my notes. We are talking about a pretty important subject, and one that I'm going to be diving into a lot, and one that I actually dive into a lot with my clients, and because I'm a nutritionist, and you know, we all have these situations, we all have these we all have to deal with food in one way or the other, and sometimes it can be a little bit hard, especially if we have issues with our eating, and it can be really difficult. Or what we're basically talking about is practical ways to kick food cravings to the curb. We want to get rid of them. We want to have that nice, healthy relationship with food, and we want to be able to, you know, live our lives without having to struggle with daily cravings and daily decisions, and, you know, and then the feelings that come with not eating properly, and the psychological side of eating, which is sometimes more prominent and more upsetting than the actual food that we're eating. Our relationship with food sometimes can be very detrimental, and because, I mean, we can't go without food, and people that have addictions with food, I think struggle so much because of the simple fact that, like I said, we can't stop eating. There's just no two ways around it. It's one of the things that we need in life, and it's one of the things that we can't get away from. So we have to find that beautiful balance, that beautiful symbiosis that we need for food in our lives. You know, I'll give you a little secret. Even health coaches, even nutritionists, you know, we crave food. We have food cravings as well. I mean, we're only human as well. I mean, if you find, or you're looking for a nutritionist out there that is perfect and doesn't have cravings, and they're telling you that they eat 100% perfect all the time, I'm going to say liar. But, you know, we're all in a work in progress. And I think this is one of the big things that is hard for a lot of us. So, you know, this is why I decided to talk about this. All right. So, you know, even if we were to begin with incorporating a few really small habits into our lives and changing a few making a few very conscious decisions about our food, we can really get away from diving or finding ourselves into a big bowl of chips or, diving into a chocolate cake all the time, and then you feeling like crap afterwards. Um, and this is what a lot of people have issues with. They have issues with chocolate. They have issues with dairy products. They have issues with nuts and crunchy snacks. So, and some people really have issues with high fat foods, spicy foods, breads and starches, cookies, cakes, pies, candies, all these different things. We all have a tendency and different cravings depending upon what emotional connection we have with them. My typical go-to, and you can take it for what it's worth, is sweets. And just, to show you the connection with regards to the emotional connection with regards to food and different foods that you crave. Sweets actually means that I'm craving some sort of love or connection of some kind of love that's needed in my life. Now, before you jump to any kind of conclusions, at this point in my life, things are pretty darn good. So I'm not really so much craving the love or the connection or the comfort or whatever that comes with it. But at the same time, I've incorporated some really bad habits into my life, and it's very, very hard to get out of those habits. And actually, at the end of this, I'm going to, give you a chance to download a PDF that will actually give you a connection between the foods that you're craving and the emotions that are tied to it. And so you can look at that for yourself. So it's a kind of cool little chart. So no matter what kind of cravings that we're actually having, I'm going to go into a few little tips that will actually help you get away from those cravings, or at least distract you a little bit. So always trying to keep some healthy snacks in and around your house. So, I'm not saying don't go towards the foods that you're craving, but try a little of these tips first. So going towards the healthy snacks. Foods that are high in protein and fat and fiber will actually keep you fuller longer. And this is one of the, tips that I really give towards my BIT clients and anybody that asks really with regards to how do I get rid of cravings. And this is one of them, having those leftover pieces of chicken that, are really baked really well. Having a couple of tablespoons of hummus in small containers all ready to go, and have some cut up vegetables right beside it, and just grab it out of the fridge really, really quickly. It can really satisfy that crunch that you might be having, and any kind of hunger as well. So if you're needing something a little bit sweeter, you can actually go towards a dessert hummus, which is kind of one of my favorites these days. You can actually have a hummus or make up your own hummus, actually. I would prefer, it's hard to say what's in the ones that you buy at the store, but I mean, making hummus is so very simple. Yeah, and I'll try to find a recipe, actually. I'll write that down for you guys. So I'll find a recipe and get one for you. But because when I bake, I don't usually use recipes, so I can't think of one off the top of my head. I just throw a bunch of stuff together. Okay, so chickpeas, perhaps, a little bit of tahini. For a dessert one, I wouldn't add lemon juice unless it was more of a sweet lemon. Let's see, a little bit of salt, but for a dessert one, I would add a little bit of maple syrup and some cocoa, and perhaps something like that would be really amazing. You whirl that up in your food processor, and you have it with some apples or pears or something along that line. So you're getting some really good oils. Usually there's some olive oil that'll go in that. You could use coconut oil in that, would be really amazing because it'll give a hint of sweetness without any carbs. And you can use that as your dip for your vegetables, and it's really amazing. It's kind of one of my go-tos because you're getting a lot of really good healthy things with that. Like I said, and you really don't know what you're getting when you buy it at the grocery store, and it's so easy to make up. Anyways, For those of you, so you get your hummus with your veggies. That's really good. You can have your sweetened hummus or your dessert hummus, which is really amazing. For those of you that are doing kind of a low carb or keto kind of diet, those really amazing little fat bombs that you can get. They really, really, or not get, but you can make them up on your own. They're really, really amazing for holding you over to the next day or next meal and really adding a little bit of sweetness into them. So I think a lot of times they're made with a lot of different things, but off the top of my head, I'm thinking you could make one with almond butter and coconut oil and cocoa again. You can add a little bit of sweetness, cinnamon in that. You can add in kind of nuts you want. So you can use ground almonds to throw in that as well, or coat them in that. There's so many different variations of those as well. So you can Google that and find out a little bit of a sweet treat, again, that's not going to shoot your blood sugar up through the roof. So you want to keep everything balanced. So I'm going to give you some tips now with regards to how to, change your mind with regards to shifting that focus away from cravings. So when you're going into a craving, sometimes it's really kind of cool to just distract yourself. Even just for 5 minutes, that's all you need sometimes to just get beyond that craving. If you stop thinking about the leftovers that you had the night before and head outside for a walk, go around the block, take that dog out with you because he's been bugging you to get out all day. Get out and go for a walk to change the scenery sometimes is a really big helpful. Get down on the floor and play with the kids, start a puzzle, do something like this that really, go out and weed the garden. It really changes the scenery. It changes the energy. You can turn the music up loud and dance to some energy, change that focus that's going on in your brain away from the food and into something that can be really quite helpful. I mean, increasing some movement into your life, we all need more than that. Another really kind of cool thing to distract yourself, and I've heard of a couple of my clients have told me this, is they brush their teeth to get rid of cravings. So you're getting rid of that taste, or you're changing the taste buds or tricking the body a little bit and taking away from that craving of that sweet or that salty or whatever it is that you're craving. So getting busy again. So this goes along with, distracting yourself and tricking yourself. You can actually go to the gym. You can, or if you have some sort of weights or something in your house, do that as well. Do some jumping jacks. In the spur of the moment, you can do that. Whatever it is that makes you feel good in that moment and distracts you away from thinking about that sugary donut that your husband just so kindly brought home for you. Drinking more water. One of the big things with the body is it gives us a lot of signals that we don't really interpret properly. One of the cues for the body with regards to thirst is craving. So sometimes when we have a craving or we're feeling hunger, all it is that the body's asking for is a drink of water or a drink of some kind. Dehydration and cravings can go hand in hand, and it's you're kind of amazing that sometimes that, you have that craving, just go for a glass of water, see what happens. If you're still feeling hungry about 20 minutes later, then reach for that healthy snack. It'll give you that time to play around with in between to go, okay, so I've had my water, now what do I do kind of thing, before you dive mindlessly into that bag of chips or mindlessly into that chocolate cake again. So really hydrating throughout the day will really ease down the cravings quite a bit. And again, having a hot beverage, getting in a nice green tea with that really will give you the added antioxidants and all those nice catechins, or even a freshly brewed cup of coffee. Try it without sugar for a change. This has kind of been my go-to this summer, is trying coffee without cream. And I have a feeling the more that I have coffee without cream, the more that I will be okay. My sweet tooth will diminish, and I will be okay with it because, it's one of those things that I don't typically have sugar in my coffee. I have stevia. But again, that is just something that I would like to, diminish that sweet tooth that I do have. I always add cream to it because cream is that added fat, and it's a good fat. So I'm okay with having that cream in my coffee. And, when you're having these sweets, or you have a sweet tooth and your tendency towards these things, don't buy the stuff. Don't bring it into the house. I know it's kind of hard because, hardly any of us live alone, but if we're living alone, it's easy. We don't have to buy it. We don't have to bring it into our homes. But if we live with other people, then obviously stuff is going to be in our homes. So make an area in your home that is your go-to, perhaps a section of the fridge or one particular cupboard that has your stuff in it, that has your go-to foods that you can grab and go. One of the really cool things is, especially now that we're going in towards the summer months, is trying to looking towards our sweet treats. So if you're the type of person that really likes to have ice cream, and it's really something that you really, really love, and it's something that it's just your go-to, and I know people that actually will sit down with a whole tub, and they're not even fussy about the type of ice cream, but those big tubs of ice cream, and eat the whole thing to the point where they're shivering. Now, this can be construed as a bit of an issue. I'm not a psychologist by any means, but there is, something like that is something that should be addressed. There's wonderful ways that you can get around a lot of that, though, too. Freezing a bunch of old bananas. So when bananas are black and they're a little bit older, they're very, very sweet. Taking them and freezing them. I usually do that with a lot of my old bananas, and I freeze them and then I make them into muffins and different things. But you could also take them and freeze them peeled and freeze them, and then you can put them in your blender with a bunch of different things and make them into this wonderful, really beautiful ice cream kind of treat. You can add some cocoa powder, make it chocolate. You can add nuts to it. You can add whatever it is that you want, keeping it very, very healthy. I mean, your cocoa powder is actually going to give you some beautiful antioxidants. Your nuts are going to give you those nice, really healthy fats. And you're getting some amazing benefits from the bananas. And it's just a win-win situation all around. So it's just something that you should, really maybe look into and give yourself the opportunity to try at least and see if that's good. Let's see. One summer I took whole Greek yogurt with no sugar in it. It's just natural Greek yogurt. And I mixed it in with some just slightly pureed berries. Added a little bit of maple syrup because berries do tend to be some tart sometimes. And then I froze them into popsicle molds and had that as available, nice little treat, actually, for when my grandkids came to visit as well. You can go out and buy yourself one of those great big watermelons that are going to be coming out into the stores shortly. Cut up a bunch of pieces and have it ready in the fridge for a nice cool treat. You can take pieces of that as well and puree it down and make it into a popsicle. You can take one of the recipes I had for our green smoothies was in the Transform Your Health with Wendy group. We had green smoothies last month. So one of the recipes I remember was taking leftover green smoothies that are really nice and sweet and whatnot, and making them into popsicles as well. I've seen different variations of green teas being made into popsicles, all these different things. You let your imagination go wild. You can make so many amazing different sweet, cool treats for the summertime. What was the other one I was thinking of? Oh, grapes. Grapes that are frozen, those nice green, sweet grapes that are frozen. Amazing. I could eat those by the handful just because they're so nice, and you just pop them right in your mouth, and they're really, really cool. Another thing that you can do, is it's just, have this stuff on hand so you can enjoy them. Sorry, I was a bit distracted there. Um, and those are just some really, really amazing things that you can do that are really kind of a nice sweet treat, but a healthy swap out of it. And the more that you eat these healthy, nourishing foods, the more you're going to crave them. I know that sounds kind of odd, and it sounds kind of like, really, but it is true. And you will get away from that sweetness or that crunchiness or that saltiness. And when you stop having that for a while, when you actually go and take it in again, it's going to feel almost sickeningly sweet. It's going to taste overly salty. It's going to taste like not good at all. And you will go back to regular healthy foods. So let's see, I think I got off track a little bit, but okay. So one of the things I want you to understand though too, and this is one of the things that I talk about with a lot of my clients, is the fact that I don't want you to feel guilty. If you do take in and you do, succumb to your cravings and you have a little bit of your sweet, or you have a cupcake at the birthday party, or you have all these different things, I don't want you to feel guilty about it. I don't want you to feel, especially for a lot of my clients that are in the BIT program or whatever, guilt is one of the things. I don't want you to feel like it's bad, because there is no bad. If you have a plan that you're following, or you're on your nutritional plan that I've set up for you, it is, that there's no restrictions. You can always have anything that you want. The issue lies in the fact that I don't want you to overconsume. I don't want you to fill your bodies full of processed foods or sugary foods or salty foods or whatever food that it is your go-to. I don't want you to overconsume. If you have a craving and it's just one of those, I can't do without it, I'm not going to live without it kind of craving, have a little bit. Have a little bit, but don't overdo it. Don't go overboard and eat a whole bag of chips, or don't go overboard and eat all of the muffins, or don't go overboard and eat all of the brownies in the pan. What we're focusing on is stopping the cravings, because essentially you have the power in you. It is a little bit difficult in the beginning, but you all have the power to get beyond those cravings. I'm going to be talking a lot about this more in an upcoming webinar. Getting rid of the sugar cravings for good. So those are going to be over in the end of the month. I think there's going to be a couple of them towards the end of June. So just stay tuned for that, but I'm going to be talking a lot more about that. And with a little bit of education and understanding that sugar is extremely addictive, extremely, extremely, extremely. They really correlate the craving or the addiction of sugar towards something along the lines of cocaine or heroin or even smoking. These addictions are very, very hard on the body, and sugar is right up there. You want to put it up there with all the other white stuff that's going through our focus these days. Processed foods, for the most time, we crave them. It's the salt, there's tons of sugar, and then you get all the chemicals and the simple fact that the foods are not doing anything for us. So they're empty nutrients. We dive into these things because it's beyond us. It's not your fault, is what I'm saying. It's not your fault. And we have been conditioned to take this in. We have been conditioned to have an addiction to these things. It's called marketing. It's called, what do they call it for foods? Craveability. It's basically they're feeding on our addictions, and the marketing people. and you have no control over it. So with an understanding that you have no control over the cravings, and understanding that it's not your fault, but you do have control. Once you realize that what it is and what's going on, you have the control to go beyond it. Sugar hides everywhere. So actually just noticing it and understanding and bringing some awareness to it is half of the battle. So this is why I'm doing stuff like this. Let's see here. Understand, a lot of the stuff that I do for you guys is because I've been there myself. I mean, I do have a struggle, and I continually struggle with my addiction to sugar. It's just, there's no way I can really get around it. And I'm not going to lie to you about it. It's something that, I work on a monthly basis and a daily basis. I strive, and I know, and I always look for healthy alternatives. Like I was telling you about that sweet hummus that I like to have. I use a little bit of sweetener like stevia in my coffee. I get away from it as much as possible. And when I don't, I really feel like crap. I'm not going to lie to you. As my body is aging, I have noticed that when I overindulge a little bit, my body starts screaming at me, hey, what's going on? And then I don't sleep. And then I feel puffy. And then I feel bloated. And then I feel foggy. My brain just goes, whoo, and it's just like, it's like a cloud around my head. I'm not able to focus. I'm not able to converse. I can't read. It's amazing what all this does to me. It's really kind of sad, actually, because sometimes the messages don't go through. So slowly but surely, my psyche, I'm imprinting new pathways into my psyche, and and when I do have a craving, it's like a trigger of a chain reaction that goes off. So basically, I'll have a craving, and usually it's after a meal, and that's my most go-to time. At that point, I'm thinking to myself, oh, it'd be really nice to have something sweet. And then it's like something else in the back of my head is going, well, no, you probably shouldn't. And then I get up and I start looking around, and unfortunately, sometimes I don't have anything healthy in the house. And then I have to stop and go, oh, damn. I have to think about it. I really, really have to force myself to sit down and go, no, not tonight. Because if I do, I'm not going to sleep. My hot flashes are going to go crazy. My joints are going to ache. My hands are going to get all puffy. I'm not going to be able to concentrate, and I'll just be a big mess. That's what happens to me. It may be happening to you too. It's, some of those things that, sometimes the incentive is not enough. It's just not enough, and the craving becomes too much of me at that point. And usually at that point, I will grab something that's kind of sweet, kind of not. But I really at that point, I've really thought it through enough to go, jeepers, I'm not going to be feeling that great. I better not, eat this stuff. So I'm slowly but surely, incorporating some new pathways. So really trying not to dive into the sweets, trying to get away from it. I'll just use an example. I used to eat meat a long time ago. We're going back 10, 15 years ago now. And when my kids were little, I would give them the treat of McDonald's sometimes. The treat. Makes me laugh now. But anyways, back in the day before I was going through all this holistic and healthy stuff, I would dive into McDonald's or drive through or whatever as for a quick trip. I was a single mom for many, many years, so a lot of times this was the go-to. I was struggling, and a lot of times I would do that. I stopped eating McDonald's years ago for several reasons. One of them being the fact that I'm a vegetarian, first of all, but simply the fact that, and I'll say it straight out, it's crap food. It's just not good for you. There's nothing healthy in it. There's nothing good for you. I really have a very sour taste in my mouth with regards to McDonald's. Anything that has to do with McDonald's. My husband will buy their coffee every once in a while, and I feel guilty going through the drive-thru with him. I duck down and put my glasses on, hope that nobody can see me going through there, because I can't say enough bad things about them. But anyways, that's not what I'm talking about today. So I stopped going there. That was pretty much easy for me. I have a McDonald's that's just down the road, and I have to pass it every time I want to go anywhere. And every time I go past there, I can smell their fries. They do something that they throw the greasy smell into the air, and I can smell it. And they do it on purpose. It was, and I'll tell you the truth, it took me years, even after stopping eating there, it took me years before I stopped salivating at the smell of those fries. They do it on purpose. They do it, and but my body has been programmed, my mind, my psyche, everything else was programmed for years and years and years to want to eat McDonald's foods. Even just the smell of the fries would start me salivating. Now I go past and I smell it, and it actually gags me a little bit, but again, that's a totally different story. But I know you know what I'm talking about. It's that programming that has been really dive in deep with us, and we just can't get past it. Another way, and I really went off topic there a little bit, another way to get past your cravings is with the understanding that just bringing an increase to your metabolism. So when you're doing, say, something like the BIT program or any kind of eating program that you're on, when you increase your metabolism by eating really healthy foods and really some lean, really good proteins, healthy fats, really complex carbs, you're going to decrease your blood sugar levels, and you're going to ditch your cravings. If you're eating every couple of hours, you're going to ditch those cravings because your blood sugars are not diving deep and going really, really low, which brings you to the point of, I have to eat something because I'm so hungry. And really keeping some really good healthy fats through your meals and your proteins and your carbs, it's going to make you feel fuller longer, and you're going to not have that sweet craving. And even if you do, even if you grab a fruit in the middle of the afternoon, it's going to be so much better than diving into a chocolate bar or even a granola bar. So keeping these things at close hand will always help you. Keeping dried fruit in the car is another really good. Dried fruit is the fruit, a sweet fruit that has normal natural sugars in it. If you dry that sugars get concentrated, so they're a lot more sweeter than normal fruit or normal things. So I wouldn't eat a lot of them because it will spike your insulin levels and cause you to crave a little bit more. But it's better than a chocolate bar. And really, being very conscious of what's going on and understanding your eating habits and different things like that. So I will put a link in below this video to the PDF that I was telling you about emotional eating. And I will also, keep you updated with regards to the webinar that I have coming up, the masterclass, in fact, is what it's called. With regards to cutting your cravings a lot more. If you want more information or you want to just sit down and chat, I've got a new online scheduling system, so I'll leave the link below as well. And you can set up a free discovery call, and we can do it online. You don't even have to come into the office or anything like that. And I can explain to you a little bit more about how my BIT program works for you. and how it actually would be an amazing thing for you to incorporate into your life. And let's see what else. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm going to Toronto tomorrow and I'm going to get to see my baby girl. At the end of the week, I'm going to this amazing wellness conference with one of my new best friends, and we're going to have a blast, and I'm so excited. So stay tuned. I have a feeling we're going to get a little crazy with the Instagram stories and the Facebook stories, and you can just watch us as we have fun in Toronto. It's going to be amazing. I feel like I've been let loose out of my little office here, so I'm so excited. On this rainy day, I've got a day full of packing and laundry to do, so I will let you get on with your day. Have an amazing day, and I will see you in the Facebook Lives and the Instagram Lives, and you can follow along with us and see all kinds of the crazy things that we're doing. And I love you all. And if you ever have any questions, comments, or concerns, tag me in the post below, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. I'll see them faster if you tag me. And yeah, so have an amazing day. Take care.